Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Jamaica News in Review. Several detained in joint police-military operation in Spalding. Several persons were detained on Friday during a joint police-military operation in Spalding, located at the border of Clarendon and Manchester. Head of Operations for Manchester Police Superintendent David Blake said the operation, which targeted wanted men and persons of interest, followed the migration of criminals from various parts of Clarendon. The operations will continue over the coming days. Blake added that the operations form part of police military activities under the state of emergency imposed in Clarendon. Superintendent Blake said the security forces are mindful of people's rights.
Manchester, in fact, has operational and administrative responsibility for Spalding, and it's currently under a state of public emergency. So we are conducting this operation in the community to ensure that we restore public order, and those men who are wanted in the community are persons of interest. They are picked up by the police. So far we have detained several men. We have conducted several targeted and intelligence-driven operations, and we intend to conduct these operations for the duration of the state of public emergency, and to ensure that those who are detained are taken to the appropriate detention center and due process is exercised. We're mindful that the residents have their human rights, so we're not interfering in any way, shape or form with their human rights. But we have to ensure, as the security forces, that law and order is maintained. And we have had some concerns in the Spalding community. So there are incidents of robberies and break-ins throughout the nights, and we are getting the information from the public, and we're encouraging the public to continue to share information with the police about men who are wanted, any strange men who are in the community, because that is one of the concerns that we're having.
Second person dies following shooting in downtown Montego Bay. A second person has succumbed to injuries received during Saturday's gun attack on taxi in downtown Montego Bay, St. James. He has been identified as 26-year-old Linda Gooden. The taxi driver, 31-year-old Romaine McFarlane, had been pronounced dead on arrival at hospital on Saturday. It is reported that around 3:30 p.m., the driver of a Toyota Probox motor car and a male passenger were traveling along Harbour Street when they were ambushed at the Union Street intersection by armed men in another car. The gunmen opened fire, hitting both the driver and the passenger. The attack took place despite the parish being under a state of public emergency since Tuesday. Samuda announced his resignation as the Labour Minister, says he will support Holness. Minister of Labour and Social Security Carl Samuda has confirmed that he has resigned from the cabinet effective Monday. The minister said he announced his resignation last night at the Labour's Minister Award banquet at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and that he had already advised the Prime Minister. 2.5 years ago, I told him that I would only be here to serve in the cabinet for 2 more years. That was something that is well known, and I have reached that critical moment, he told reporters. Make no mistake about it, I am still a very strong supporter of the Prime Minister and the team, and would not like anybody to misinterpret this action in any way. I am still a very strong supporter of the team, and will do everything I can to assist, Samuda stressed. News first emerged last Friday that he would be leaving the ministry, following a now-deleted post on the ministry's website, which showed Samuda bidding farewell to Permanent Secretary Colette Roberts-Wisten and the ministry's executive team. All the best, Minister, the post read. There has been no information from the Office of the Prime Minister about a change in leadership at the Labour Ministry. However, there has been speculation that cabinet reshuffle is on the horizon. Prime Minister Holness recently announced changes to the composition of the Senate with the appointment of former journalist Fitz Headley and Finance Director Dr. Dina Morris-Dixon. This was made possible following the resignations of Natalie Campbell-Rodriguez and Lester Campbell. Driver rushed to hospital after shooting in Hodgden. A motorist has been hospitalized following a shooting incident off Mullins Road in St. Andrew on Sunday afternoon. The circumstances around the incident are still unclear, but police have confirmed that the driver of the white BMW motor car was shot and injured and had to be rushed to hospital. The incident occurred around 1:30 p.m. The police were processing the scene up to publication time. No motive has yet been established for the shooting. Bale extended for truck driver charge for vehicular manslaughter. Truck driver Maurice Baker, who is charged with 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter, got an extension of his bail when he appeared in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Friday. When the matter came up before Senior Judge Desiree Elaine, it was revealed that the post-mortem report, the certifying officer stated, and statements from passengers in the crash are still outstanding. Baker is set to return to court on September 4. It is alleged that Baker was driving an Isuzu motor truck along Walker's Road in St. Catherine on February 27 when he observed smoke coming from inside the vehicle. He reportedly looked down and lost control of the truck, which drifted into oncoming traffic. The truck slammed into a Toyota Probox motor car, and Rikisha White and Michaela Garrison were killed. Other passengers were also injured in the crash. An investigation was launched by the police, which resulted in Baker being charged. Baker is being represented by attorney-at-law Kemoy McEachern. Nearly 800 teachers trained to deliver coding skills to students, says Williams. Nearly 800 teachers have been trained under the Coding in Schools program, the Ministry of Education and Youth Favor Williams has shared. She said 497 teachers at the primary level and 272 at the secondary level have been fully trained to deliver coding skills to students. Williams, who provided the update during her recent contribution to the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives, said there are 32 schools at the secondary level that are currently integrating and delivering coding programs. Coding in schools got off to a good start but hit a little bump. We are regrouping, she told the House. Williams pointed to other achievements, which she said included the development of the framework for the integration of coding in the National Standard Curriculum and the preparation for the integrated matrix. The instructional manual for teachers is to be done and continuation of training of teachers to scale in integration of coding in the other schools, she said. Meanwhile, Williams shared that as of May 12, 2023, e-learning delivered 16,053 e-vouchers for laptops to teachers in primary and secondary schools. So far, 14,251 teachers have redeemed their vouchers. Police searching for a suspect in Westmoreland triple shooting. The Westmoreland police have launched a search for a group of armed men who carried out a drive-by attack in the parish on Sunday, leaving 3 people wounded. The attack was committed at Morgan's Bridge in Burn Savannah. Investigators say about 9 a.m., a group of people was sitting under a tree, drove up and the occupants opened fire on them. 3 victims were rushed to hospital where they were admitted. Investigators say they recorded 26 cases from the crime scene. Majority of ministers retained portfolios in reshuffled cabinet. Prime Minister Andrew Holness yesterday announced the highly anticipated cabinet reshuffle. However, the majority of the ministers retained their portfolios. The new changes include reducing the number of ministers by subsuming some of the portfolios to create new ministers. There is now a Minister of Agriculture, Fishery and Mining, which will be run by Floyd Green. There is also the new Science, Energy and Transport Ministry, which will be headed by Darrell Valls, with J.C. Hutchison as State Minister. Newly appointed Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon will now be Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, with responsibility for skills and digital transformation. Audley Shaw, who was the Minister of Transport and Mining, is out of cabinet. Carl Somodo, the Minister of Labour and Social Security, resigned. Pernell Charles Jr. will take over that ministry, with Norman Dunn as the State Minister. Other changes include the shifting of some state ministers. Xavier Main has been sent to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Juliette Cuthbert-Flynn is now State Minister in the Ministry of National Security. Marcia Simmet is now assigned to the Ministry of Education and Youth, and Alondra Terralong has now been moved to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Prime Minister Andrew Holness giving up his salary increase. Following public outcry, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has given up his massive salary increase that would have seen his pay balloon to $28.6 million in April 2024. Instead, he will remain at his current salary of roughly $9 million and will not therefore receive any retroactive payments. Holness made the announcement Monday evening in a lengthy press conference at the Jamaica House, where he defended the salary increases for cabinet ministers and parliamentarians. However, the Prime Minister said he understands the sentiment that politicians should identify with the suffering of the people. Holness also outlined that parliamentarians will now be subjected to job descriptions, a code of ethics, and must undergo training in parliamentary procedures. Last Friday, opposition leader Mark Golding announced that he would be giving up 80% of his 240% salary increase that would have seen his pay jump to more than $25 million by next April to charitable causes. The huge salary increases in some cases by more than 200% for politicians have been met with widespread backlash since they were announced in Parliament by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark last week. Business owner gunned down on Shortwood Road in St. Andrew. A business owner was gunned down Monday morning at his St. Andrew business establishment by an unknown assailant. The deceased has been identified as 62-year-old Amsa Sigur, principal of Discount Business Supply, located on Shortwood Road in the parish. According to police report, about 9:46 a.m., Sigur was outside his business establishment when a lone man disembarked from a white Honda Fit motorcar and entered the establishment. The man brandished a firearm and opened gunfire at him, hitting him in the upper body. The suspect then escaped in the waiting motorcar in the area. The police were summoned, and a team from the Grand Spend police station rushed the now deceased man to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Murder accused DJ Becker denied bail. Murder suspect Chevron DJ Becker Fairclough, who is accused of the 2022 murder of 26-year-old Sachin Sterling, has been denied bail. Fairclough, a 30-year-old music engineer from Love Lane in St. James, was denied bail during his committal hearing in the parish court on Monday. He was remanded by presiding judge Keisha Grant Price, who feared he might abscond if released on bail. We have evidence on the file that an incident took place in September 2022 and that Fairclough left the area thereafter. He said he lives in the area, but he was not there, Grant Price told the court, referring to a report from the prosecution alleging that Fairclough fled the scene after Sterling's death and was later found in Trelawney. What we do have as a live issue is that of interference with witnesses or otherwise obstructing the matter. I will leave the issue of bail to be determined by the higher jurisdiction, Grant Price added. The decision was made even though Fairclough's lawyer agent Days contended that his client had not been contacted or made aware that he was a person of interest and that Fairclough had no previous convictions. The allegations are that on September 28, 2022, at about 10 p.m., Fairclough and Sterling were among patrons at a party being held on King Street in Montego Bay when an altercation broke out between the two, allegedly due to a past feud that Sterling had with Fairclough's uncle. Fairclough pulled a knife and stabbed Sterling in the chest before throwing the weapon away and fleeing the scene. Sterling was taken to the Conner Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Alleged top-tier Arnett Gardens gangster arrested in Cassava Peace. An alleged top-tier gangster from Arnett Gardens in St. Andrew was arrested in Cassava Peace section of the parish on Tuesday. It is understood that about 5 p.m., the man was traveling in a motor vehicle along with a female companion when the vehicle was stopped by members of the St. Andrew North Police. A search was conducted by the lawmen and an illegal firearm was found. The man and the woman were both taken into custody and are expected to be charged. 3 shot 2 fatally in Westmoreland. 3 people were shot 2 fatally at George's Pen in Westmoreland on Monday night. The deceased have been identified as 46-year-old Ryan Williams, otherwise called Bad Cooley, and 26-year-old Tedward Chase, otherwise called Teddy, both laborers of the community. The injured woman is being treated at hospital. Reports from the police are that about 9:45 p.m., the woman was sitting on her veranda while Williams and Chase were sitting at the front of the yard having a conversation. Shortly after, loud explosions were heard coming from the front of the yard and all 3 individuals ran in separate directions. When the shooting subsided, it was discovered that the female received gunshot wounds to her groin and left thigh, Williams to his abdomen, while Chase received multiple gunshot wounds all over his body. The police were summoned and upon their arrival, the 3 victims were transported to hospital, where Chase and Williams were pronounced dead. No motive has been established for the shooting. Antoinette Horton Cardenas to be buried June 17 in St. Mary. The late former Firebrand talk show host and attorney at law Antoinette Horton Cardenas will be laid to rest on Sunday, June 17 at the Supreme Church in Highgate, St. Mary. A Thanksgiving service was held for her on May 16 in Philadelphia, United States, where she had spent her days in exile. A small gathering of friends and family attended the service, where her son spoke fondly of her. The remains of the controversial St. Mary native will be interred in the Horton family plot in the community of Martin. Horton was the only daughter of the late Ken Horton, former politician and president of the All-Island Cane Farmers. She shot to national prominence in the 1990s as a controversial talk show host who championed the rights of the vulnerable. Then in 2002, she helped launch the new, defunct political organization, the United People's Party. However, Horton Cardenas found herself on the wrong side of the law after being accused of misappropriating funds from one of her clients in 2009. That same year, the General Legal Counsel, acting upon recommendation by its disciplinary committee, struck her from the role of attorneys allowed to do legal work in Jamaica. When her case came about before the Corporate Era Court in December 2009, her attorney, Terence Ballantyne, told Registered Magistrate Judy Pusey that his client was sick and the warrant was stayed. But when Horton Cardenas did not show for a mentioned date in another matter in St. Mary, 2 months later, a warrant was issued for her arrest. The stay on the first warrant was also lifted. The disgraced lawyer fled the country and stayed away even during her father's funeral in June 2012. It is still unclear what caused her death on April 28. She was 67. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell.